You are going to die. Not eventually. Not someday. You are going to die, and you have absolutely no idea what happens next. Nobody does. And here is the terrifying part. Ancient humans knew this too. 80,000 years ago, sitting beside a fire in the dark, they looked at the same sky you look at and asked the exact same question you have asked. What happens when it's over? And what they came up with will change how you see everything. Because ancient humans didn't just wonder about death. They built entire belief systems around it. They developed rituals, symbols, and practices so sophisticated and so consistent across cultures that had never met each other that scientists today are still trying to explain how it was possible. And the answer to that question leads somewhere nobody expects. Let's start with the oldest evidence. Not a myth. Not a story. A physical object sitting in a museum right now that is over 300,000 years old. It's a red handprint. Found deep inside a cave in Spain, painted on a wall in vivid red ochre. 300,000 years old. Made by a human hand pressed flat against stone in a place so deep underground that the person who made it had to crawl through darkness to get there. Why did they do it? That handprint isn't a hunting diagram. It isn't a map. It isn't a tool. It serves no survival function whatsoever. The only reason you crawl deep into a cave and press your hand against a wall in red paint is because you believe something about that act. You believe it means something. You believe it will last. You believe something or someone will see it. That is not an animal behavior. That is a belief about existence beyond the physical moment, and it is 300,000 years old. But the handprint is just the beginning. Because when archaeologists started looking for patterns across ancient human burial sites on every continent, they found something that should have been impossible. The same beliefs. Everywhere. Red ochre, that same vivid red pigment, appears at burial sites across Africa, Europe, Asia, and the Americas, spanning hundreds of thousands of years. Cultures separated by oceans and ice ages and tens of thousands of years of time, all independently deciding that red was the color of death, or life after death, or the boundary between the two worlds. That kind of convergence doesn't happen by accident. Here's what researchers believe it means. The concept of an afterlife, the idea that something continues after the body stops, appears to be so fundamental to the human brain that it emerges independently wherever human beings exist. It isn't taught. It isn't imported. It grows out of the same cognitive soil every time, in every culture, on every continent. Ancient humans didn't learn to believe in life after death. They couldn't help it. And here's the scientific reason why. The human brain, even 80,000 years ago, even before language was fully developed, is a prediction machine. It constantly models the behavior of other beings. It builds internal simulations of the people around it. It asks, what will they do next? What are they thinking? What do they want? And when someone dies, the brain doesn't simply stop running that simulation. It keeps going. It expects to hear their voice. It anticipates their movement. It generates their presence in dreams and in moments of stillness, and in the half second before full waking consciousness arrives and reminds you that they are gone. That experience, the continued mental presence of someone who has died, is neurologically universal. Every human brain does it. And 80,000 years ago, without neuroscience to explain it, ancient humans reached the only logical conclusion available to them. The person is still here, just somewhere else. And if they are somewhere else, then that somewhere must be real. And if it is real, then the dead might need things there. Food, tools, company, warmth. Red ochre pressed against their skin to mark the passage from one world to the next. This is why ancient humans buried their dead with supplies. Not because they were confused, because they were applying the same rigorous cause and effect thinking that kept them alive, to a problem that had no physical solution. They couldn't stop death, but they could prepare for what came after it. And they did. With extraordinary care and extraordinary consistency across the entire span of human prehistory. Now here's the part that stops most people completely. The beliefs weren't just about death. They were about communication. Across ancient cultures worldwide, there is consistent evidence of practices designed to communicate with the dead, to maintain a relationship with people who had crossed to the other side. Offerings left at graves, food placed at burial sites, rituals performed on specific days to honor ancestors who were believed to be present, watching, and capable of influencing the living. Ancient humans did not experience death as a permanent goodbye. They experienced it as a change of location. The dead moved. They went somewhere. And from that somewhere, they remained connected to the people they had left behind. They could be spoken to. They could be asked for help. They could be thanked. They could be offended if ignored. That belief, that relationship between the living and the dead, is the foundation of every ancestor religion that has ever existed. And ancestor religion is the oldest form of human spiritual practice we have evidence for. Older than organized religion, older than temples, older than writing, possibly older than language itself. Here's what the full picture looks like. Ancient humans believed in life after death, not because someone told them to, not because a religion instructed them, but because their own minds, the same minds that learned to hunt, to navigate, to build, to love, could not process the total disappearance of a person, could not accept that someone who had been so completely present could simply become nothing. And in refusing to accept that, They created something. They created meaning. The same meaning that is still being created today in every culture, in every language, in every form of belief that humans have ever constructed around the fact that we die and we do not know what that means. 80,000 years ago, someone crawled into a dark cave and pressed their hand against a wall in red paint. And somewhere in that act was the same question you have. What happens next?